What's up, people? Addy Ads here.
And Shrimp Zoo.
We're at the Shrimp Castle. This is a pandemic podcast broadcast. We're talking about the COVID disease created from the SARS-CoV-2 virus, from the coronavirus family of viruses. So-called, their namesake is from the shape of them. It is in the shape of a corona in space and a mass coronal ejection. So that's basically what happened earlier this year, but on Earth with the pandemic. And we're going to be talking about some new developments in the science behind the pandemic. We're going to discuss herd immunity versus not, and some other things, right? Isn't that right, Mr. Shrimp?
We're going to go over the long-term side effects of COVID because they're just discovering that there are some long-term side effects, the same as the SARS coronavirus pandemic of 2003 to 2004, where there was a lot of really bad side effects. Listen real quick to what this guy says about surviving the original SARS pandemic.
I couldn't get out of bed. I couldn't lift my head. I couldn't go to the washroom. I just didn't have the strength. It was like being hit with a 2x4.
So he survived, and he's old.
Those are Bruce
He's still
England's
alive.
memories of battling SARS back in 2003. The now retired Toronto paramedic spent weeks recovering in this Ajax hospital. Now he worries a new coronavirus could be putting other healthcare workers at risk.
Who knows where it's going to end? I think information is the key. Getting information and having the masks and equipment out there.
According to provincial officials, hospital workers and paramedics across Ontario do have access to personal protective gear, items like gloves, masks, boot covers, and gowns. It's a key precaution that's being coupled with heightened screening.
Ontario implemented enhanced screening measures at all emergency medical services communication centers to help identify potential cases of this
Killing
hospitals. The amount of staff training in place is
Doing what?
A former Toronto surviving a viral outbreak that killed
So this-
hundreds of people.
This guy definitely
And he tells
survived
me
the
now,
first
and
SARS
so
outbreak,
thank you
but
very
he
much
has
for
neurological
coming in
damage
to
and
talk to
stuff,
us
and he
about
was a
this. And this,
healthcare
of course, when you first
worker in
started listening
Canada.
about the coronavirus and hearing
There's
about
a
this.
there's a lot of healthcare workers and nurses and stuff in Toronto. They're saying that after the SARS pandemic in 2003, that half of all nurses in Toronto quit after that, and a lot of them have long-term effects, like they can't really walk anymore or they have nerve damage. So I think there's going to be long-term side effects of this new SARS virus.
And this was actually seen, the long-term nerve damage you just mentioned, Shrimp Zoo, post-Spanish flu, neurological disease called encephalitis lethargica, is a form of brain inflammation that was seen post-Spanish flu. There was an uptick of this, and it appears this long-term neurological damage, in this case of the COVID-19 disease, is possibly causing more Parkinson's disease, according to RT, which I saw earlier today.
Yeah, so there's some people already with Parkinson's, and they're saying they may have gotten it from coronavirus already. After the Spanish flu, there's a 5 times increase in Parkinson's. So it looks like if you get a bad flu, and it could cause brain inflammation, which can lead to Parkinson's and other things like that. So coronavirus probably won't kill you, but you might end up with long-term side effects. Unless you're over 50, you probably won't die, unless you're fat or have diabetes. But you might also be living with neurological damage, even though you survived it.
And not to mention the organ damage, permanent organ damage that was seen in cases coming out of China. There was a study on, but not just China as well, the rest of the world. And it does seem to be attenuating, although we're in what some are calling the third wave, beginning of the third wave here. Some people call it the red line, end of the second wave now as we head into the fall. And the temperatures drop Are we going to see a combination of flu viruses with the SARS-CoV-2 virus as well? I think that is a very real danger. We'll see how the hand washing and mask wearing helps out the general population, but I'm personally more concerned about the geopolitical side effects of the pandemic. The whole thing is connected, many moving parts. But as far as COVID, still recommend hand sanitizer, of course, K2, vitamin K2 in your butter, which can help you absorb zinc as well.
Yeah, I've been taking zinc randomly since this started in like different vitamins, vitamin D. But no one's really sure yet what effects boosting your immune system or taking vitamins has. It probably is beneficial though. It seems like we know that eating healthy, taking vitamins increases your immune system. They don't really want to seem to admit that though in the media.
Yeah, and other precautions you can take. Excuse me, for COVID.
He has COVID.
I got hide COVID, no payment, unfortunately. But just making sure your immune system, when we talked about it before, as a battery, making sure it's as charged as possible. Some days you forget to charge your phone. Sometimes you forget to charge your body as well. But making sure you're staying on top of that, staying hydrated. Vitamin C is big.
Making sure you drink 2 or 3 energy drinks a day. Eddie loves energy drinks. Tease him about it.
It's funny because I never thought I would be a guy to love energy drinks, but you got to look at the ratios, and that's something too that I think applies to this pandemic. Make sure you're looking at labels, nutrition facts.
Let's get a COVID energy drink with zinc and vitamin D in it.
Dude, that is a genius idea.
Don't steal that. We came up with that first.
We might have to edit this broadcast.
Yeah,
but
that part.
we might actually look into that. But we are. What's the deal with our hand sanitizer shrimp? We're still getting that on deck.
Yeah, it's coming out. We just been a little bit lazy, but
the store just launched.
We got some T-shirts up. We got a few up. There's more stuff coming out. More Shrimp Zoo and Eddie Ed's merch. But
I've been doing designs for Shrimp, and we've been collabing on designs.
We got a few hoodies and a few masks up on the merch store on YouTube, but we'll have some more stuff up soon.
Yeah, so check all that out. But we'll talk about more of our store later. We're hosting it right now on Shrimp, so it's basically a shrimp store, and I'm just kind of running it or helping to run it.
What else did you want to get into COVID? Canadian guidelines for dating and sex.
Yeah, I just wanted to talk more. Just finish my thought on the energy drinks. I do no sugar, and I make sure the vitamins are a good level because you can actually go into toxic shock if you drink too many B vitamins at once. But as far as COVID, what did you just mention?
Let's get into like the CDC guidelines in Canada and America for dating, because some of the like guidelines in America and Canada are pretty outrageous for dating. They're also in Canada, they're super explicit. Even in New York State, the New York State website is pretty outrageous as well. We're gonna go over that, I guess. So I'm sure this will get the video demonetized so New York State, they're suggesting that you pleasure yourself instead of dating because that's the only safe way. They're saying that you should wear masks and you shouldn't kiss people. You should get into the Canadian guidelines.
Yeah, so CDC Canada gave an official guideline of using glory holes for sex.
Get out your hole saws.
So I was telling Shrimp he's got to tell his new girl.
Don't say that on here.
Say what?
What?
We've been talking about this, haven't we?
Yeah, but don't say that. You don't know who's watching this.
I think you guys know where I was going with that.
Shout out to Josh H.
Josh H, thank you so much for supporting independent broadcasters, media.
Go back into the glory hole thing for Canada, what they're saying.
So they're saying to use glory holes as a means of safe transmission or lack thereof of the virus. But as far as I know, viruses travel via bodily fluids. So having a glory hole would not necessarily preclude one from getting the virus, I would think. And there's also the mention of masks while
Yeah,
copulating,
to me,
fornicating.
so they say that you can get COVID from the natural way that COVID spreads in the first place is through fecal matter. When animals go to the bathroom, it spreads through aerosolization. That's how SARS viruses spread in nature. So we know it's in pee and poop. It's probably in all bodily fluid. So I think if you're gonna be intimate with someone, it's probably already a high risk. A mask is not going to help at that point. The glory hole suggestion from Canada is like it's pretty ridiculous in my opinion. Doesn't seem to make sense to me. I'm actually not even sure. And I guess I'll say this: it's like super inappropriate. Kids, cover your ears. New York State is telling you to masturbate on their website.
Shame on them.
I don't know. It's pretty weird. All the guidelines.
Didn't you see a weird headline about condoms? Kelly M just brought up the C word, the condom word. You can use a condom with a glory hole. This is a rated M for mature broadcast by Addy Ads and Shrimp Zoo here on the Pandemic podcast broadcast. And this is the Great Awakening. Students, teachers, and tutors alike.
How the Canadian website says to minimize contact with like body fluids and semen. So I'm curious why they're recommending glory holes in Canada.
Brian Carr also verified there's COVID in sperm. I mean, you would think.
Yeah, that's why the glory hole thing is so weird and like it doesn't really make sense to me. I don't know.
Yeah, it reminds me of a chat I had when I was running my COVID scientist roundtable. We had one Dr. Robert Young on, who doesn't believe in germ theory. He believes in terrain theory, and this is something that you learn in basic, regular, introductory level microbiology in high school. I mean, that's what I remember as well. As far as bodily fluid transfer of viruses, not to mention germ theory versus terrain theory. And basically what that means is, do you think sickness comes from the environment or from germs? I think that's the most simple way that I could explain that. So if you don't believe in germ theory, you don't really believe in there's any point in washing hands or anything to do against prophylactically protecting yourself against germs, viruses, and bacteria. So I thank Dr. Robert Young for coming on my show, and I said goodbye to him after that. But
look at this, what they're suggesting. They're telling you, they say not to have threesomes on the New York city.gov website. It's just so weird. Why? It's so weird. Like,
if two is company,
then three is a crowd.
Three or more is definitely a crowd. Large gatherings of any type are not safe during COVID-19. Limit the size of your guest list. Keep it intimate. Go with a consistent sex partner.
I mean, that's probably.
I am currently in New York.
That's probably good advice, though.
So I should probably adhere to this. Ladies, New York ladies, I still need to check this one off.
Daryl, send him an email.
This is a completely serious matter. Okay, pick larger, more open and well-ventilated spaces.
That's going to be hard. Unless you're outside for some reason.
Wear a face covering. Avoid kissing. Do not touch your eyes, nose, or mouth with unwashed hands. Bring an alcohol-based hand sanitizer. If you usually meet your sex partners online or make a living by having sex, consider taking a break from in-person dates.
Someone says, why are we buying into the BS? We're really not. We're just covering what's going on. We're not buying into the CDC guidelines for this because, one, if you're going to kiss or have sex, that's already a danger of getting COVID. I think it's silly. It's just silly.
Video dates, sexting, subscription-based fan platforms.
What did it say?
Sexy Zoom parties or chat rooms may be options for you instead.
They're telling you to like sext on Zoom.
Yeah, so you guys, ladies, you can make your OnlyFans. And guys, you can just sign up for them.
Does
I
it,
guess.
does it say OnlyFans
No,
on there?
it says subscription-based fan platforms, but
That's so weird. They're telling you to use, like, basically telling you to use OnlyFans and stuff. That's so weird.
so,
This is a New York City government website telling you to go to like OnlyFans and stuff and use Zoom. That's weird.
and this is a good point. Kisses require mouth condoms. Mouth condom. That's just basically a mask, right? Face diaper.
That's gross the way you said that though.
Sex costs too much.
It's usually free.
Sex is not free, man.
Well, girlfriends can be expensive.
Rimming might spread the virus.
Does it say that on there? What? Does it say that on there? What? I guess it does.
Make it a little kinky though.
Wait, does it?
Right there.
What?
Be creative with sexual positions and physical
Why is the
barriers.
New York City government website like talking like this?
Like walls that allow sexual contact while preventing close face-to-face contact.
Yeah, none of this makes sense. They got no idea what they're doing here in New York City with these like dating and sex guidelines. This is crazy.
Wash sex toys with soap and warm water.
You're supposed to have sex with the mask on and avoid kissing, but it's like it's in bodily fluid. It's so weird.
Masturbate together.
The problem with that is if one person has COVID and they're doing that and like it's in the air. You're just breathing out in the air. That's not gonna stop you from getting it. Really, the best advice is it is a risk. It is a risk to be intimate or kiss somebody with it. If you don't want to get it, then don't kiss people, I guess. I'm out there kissing people.
Oh wait, so
I'm taking the risk.
okay, we are taking the risk now. We're
Whoa.
gonna talk about this.
Well, are you gonna take the risk? Will you make out with a girl that you just met, or will you be too worried about COVID?
I would like to answer that question.
I won't make out with a girl that I just met. It's gonna take me a few times of meeting her or hanging out with her.
I'm going to be at the behest of my lawyer's advice. I will invoke my Sixth Amendment right,
You're not gonna answer that question.
my Fifth Amendment right,
You won't answer it. I just answered
and my
it.
14th Amendment right under the Constitution of the United States.
Oh, you wuss! I just answered it live on YouTube.
If you feel unwell, avoid kissing, sex, or close contact. I think that is a good piece of advice. So we got at least one good piece of advice.
But it
on
say
here.
avoid kissing and sex.
If you are feeling unwell or start to feel unwell,
But that's like such common sense.
that is quite common sense.
It doesn't need to be on a government website. That's common sense.
Stuff.
I mean, that goes for cold or that goes for any time you're sick to avoid other people.
So stuff that is not common sense that is also listed on the same document. Again, this is www1. Is that the right one? .nyc.gov.
1.newyorkcity.gov.
Stuff that isn't common sense that's in bold. Can I unplug this or no?
You can, but it'll come off the TV.
Oh wait, can they see that?
Yeah.
Wait.
They're out there seeing this.
Oh, nice. Okay.
They're out there.
Look at this, guys.
Oh yeah, zoom in for these people. Nice.
Make it a little kinky. These are the ones that are not common sense. Again, this is on the New York
Yeah,
State New York City government website.
That's so weird because that's not gonna. The biggest risk is like just breathing and talking, and it's gonna be in the air.
Are you sure that's the biggest risk?
Well, if you're next to somebody, it's not gonna matter if you're doing that or not. As long as you're in the same room and breathing with them. I don't know. I don't think this is very good advice.
It just seems like they're trolling, dude.
Kind of. It's weird.
It's contradictory advice. I mean, when you think about, I don't know, just microbiome. I still can't remember my high school microbiome teacher's name. I'm going to look her up. I remember what she looked like. She's a white woman. She would always wear long dresses. And
She sounds hot.
she was a total babe.
She was.
No.
No.
But she's a pretty cool teacher, pretty fair, from what I can remember. And yeah, I remember learning that bodily fluid transmission is present for pretty much all viruses. Kinky Zoom. Let's look at these comments.
When
Just avoid
Sheila
sex.
Buttrell began limping while walked a dog, a friend convinced her to see a neurologist.
in March 2011, and
They're
he
doing a huge
diagnosed
study in
me with
Australia to see if it's
Parkinson's.
causing
I tried to
Parkinson's.
get on with life and not let it get in
This
the way.
lady that got COVID
Researchers
said
from
she got
the Macquarie
Parkinson's from it.
Institute
That's what they're
fear Some
saying.
people who've had COVID-19 might face the same diagnosis, with a potential silent wave of brain illness following the pandemic.
The risk is real. Let me put it this way. I don't want to catch this virus.
How might a virus increase your risk of developing Parkinson's disease? The virus enters the body through the nose or mouth, where it then causes inflammation to the part of the brain responsible for the loss of smell and taste. This inflammation damages brain
Somebody
cells,
asked what kind of
increasing the
firearms,
risk of conditions such as
rifle or
Parkinson's
shotgun,
disease.
something to hunt with.
Researchers say it's something that happened after the
I think
Spanish
food and water is
flu
more important than a
pandemic more
gun.
than 100 years ago.
There's actually a 2 to 3
can't-
increase in the incidence of Parkinson's disease.
You can't really kill a whole mob with a gun. I think it's like when me and Addie go out to protest, we know we really can't use weapons because if we had a gun or a knife and we hurt one or two people, the 100 other people there are just going to kill you. Your best weapon is your mind, probably. If protesters attack you, is just to pretend like you're on their side or pretend like you're Black Lives Matter or MAGA, whoever's attacking you, because you really can't defend yourself against a mob. It's not going to be possible with a gun. Maybe 1-on-2 or 1-on-3 or something, but if you're in a protest or a mob, no weapon's going to help you.
Yeah, I would think about it.
Hunting, I think, with the gun is good, though.
Yeah, just get a 22 to start with. I would say just get a 22 long rifle, cheapest ammo in the world, most abundant ammo in the world, and you can kill deer with 22. You can kill humans with 22.
You get an air rifle for hunting squirrels and small game. If you're in the city, a gun will be nice, but I just don't think it's realistic to have a gun for self-defense because there's like mobs and stuff. Maybe if you're out in the country and like 2 or 3 people break in your house, but it's not going to be useful if you're in a protest or a mob situation.
Yeah, generally speaking, unless stuff has already hit the fan, it's almost always advisable not to partake in violence unless you absolutely have to defend yourself to do so, or you have to do so to defend yourself, rather. But that being said, think about like the Hunger Games. There's a little girl, I think her name was like Fox. She just like hid the whole time and she like outlasted all of them. If you guys ever played Apex or another game called Fortnite, which I only played like once, so Apex is way better. You can become one of the last survivors just by hiding from everybody and by avoiding conflict.
I think having an axe for firewood, having like water and heat is going to be more important. A gun is nice to have, but like when I was at the protest, Antifa made me empty my pockets. I just had my keys and hand sanitizer, but they made me empty my pockets out because they're asking what I had in my pockets. I couldn't really say no because there's a lot of people there. So if I would have had a gun on me, that wouldn't have went very well.
Do you think we are heading towards World War III, Shrimp?
So I think if Biden gets elected, he's gonna go into Syria probably and try to get rid of Assad, which will be a complete disaster. Syria's like just now starting to become stable again. He's probably gonna unstabilize the entire Middle East. We just had all these peace deals between Israel and their Arab neighbors. Biden will probably unravel all of that. I don't think Biden will necessarily go to war with China, but Trump maybe will head us down that path. India and China have like very tense relations. World War III is definitely on the brink. Like after 9/11, we didn't just go straight into Afghanistan and battle the Taliban. That took a while to happen. So 50-50. What do you think?
I agree with your take on Joe Biden in Syria. I do think that Biden is controlled by the warmongers and the military-industrial complex, and they do want to achieve their end of Iran and
Yeah.
Syria being taken down. And one link that I actually didn't put together until I recently watched Julian Assange interview was the link between the mass refugee crisis to Europe and the invasion of Libya and toppling of Gaddafi back in 2012, which is something that I remember quite well. It was huge. It was when I was in school. And just realizing those two things are related, the mass influx of refugees from North Africa and Africa to Europe was largely caused by this invasion. Now, World War III, Trump, I think he's much less likely to go to war with anyone than any president we've had in a long time.
Well, what about China, though?
China would be something that I think Trump wants to appear strong on. He definitely wants to appear strong on China. I think he does appear strong on China because he is pretty strong on China. But does he want to actually go to war with them? I don't think so. Would be, it's just too much for those. We are the two biggest world powers now, United States of America and
It might not really matter what he wants.
CCP.
All the neocons and all the other industrial military complex probably have a bigger say than he does.
You think even now, like with
He just complained about the military industrial complex in a speech like a week or two ago,
yeah.
saying that they keep pressuring him for war and they want to just build up the whole industrial complex and they want more bombs and stuff.
War has become its own resource now, like a living and breathing metaphysical business, which kind of lives on its own.
I think what we're going to head towards more than a World War III with nukes or whatever is just a Cold War with China, Russia, Iran. I think that there's more of a global uprising than a world war. Countries like Belarus, Ukraine, America, Venezuela, a lot of these countries are like practically on the verge of civil wars. Lebanon, Germany is kind of descending slightly into chaos. They're having an uprising of the far right again. They stormed the Parliament building recently in Germany.
Die Reichstag.
Yeah. I think there's going to be definitely a global uprising, a new renaissance, but we're going to have to go through dark ages to get there. It's going to be bad probably for a while.
Do you think America will be in civil war soon, says Chris John Wright, coming from the United Kingdom? Shout out to Chris John Wright.
Yeah, I mean, we're already in a civil war pretty much. How many cops have got shot since this all started? Like a dozen? How many Republicans have been shot? How many BLM or Antifa have been ran over, stabbed, or shot? A lot. People have been dying for months based on their political ideology. People are in the streets every night with plastic garbage can lids and looking like ISIS and Ninja, battling police and Republicans. Yeah, I think civil war's already started, but it's not like people in red suits versus blue suits lined up firing weapons. It's just block by block, descending more into chaos every day.
Do you think America and Britain will go to war with China in 2021? I don't think so, because they won't have the support of the public. I don't think that will be easy to get a hold of in modern age, getting support like that.
If
for such a huge, it's literally that would be World War IV.
The entire world basically depends on the trade between America and China, and China and America lead the world in technology, medicine, everything. We're like the two superpowers. If we go to war, there's not going to be a clear winner. It's going to be bad.
Yeah, it'll be bad for everybody except a very select few.
I think China's just using this time to expand into Taiwan, Japan, Russia, into the South China Sea, into the Philippines, taking over all those little islands, taking over Xinjiang, committing genocide on the Tibetans, the Uyghurs, just getting rid of Islam in China, getting rid of insurrection.
Speaking of Tibetans, there was a NYPD spy for China that was caught recently. He was charged with espionage for China, spying on Tibetans.
That guy is a piece of crap lowlife. that cop that got caught.
And there's a picture of him with AOC that I saw.
What?
No joke. You can look it up. Picture of a NYPD communist spy infiltrated the New York Police Department, was spying on Tibetans, his own people,
Yeah,
for the
there is.
CCP.
There is. It's
There
just-
he is, next to
That's
who
bizarre.
else but the mascot for the Democratic Party, the DNC mascot, next to an NYPD Chinese communist spy selling out his fellow countrymen, Tibetans,
Yeah, it's not. That's so.
to the communists.
That guy's such a low life. He sold out his entire ethnic group to the Chinese Communist Party. They're already being persecuted there. He sold them out, and he also stabbed America in the back. That guy's a low life.
Yeah, I mean, he's a spy. He's a traitor.
He spied on his own people for communist China.
He should hang.
That's pathetic.
Like John Brennan should hang. Will John Brennan hang? Who knows? These deep state actors, guys. We have to keep hunting them. Staying up on the Epstein case, working on the Epstein files intro. Maxwell's still in jail as far as we know. And again, I went over Buffalo Bridge. We were in Buffalo just earlier this week, investigating Pascal Veronique Ferrier, 52-year-old French national woman with Canadian citizenship. Since 2015, she was arrested in Texas for overstaying her visa, using a fake driver's license and carrying a weapon without a license, unlawful possession of a weapon. She was arrested at Peace Bridge, just about pretty close to here, trying to sneak back into the United States from Canada after sending ricin, the poison ricin, to Donald Trump. Ricin, a poison is extracted and made from castor beans. No known cure for ricin. Very poisonous.
Somebody says Trump supporters are more gullible than flat earthers. Well, they're probably nicer though. I could say a lot of really mean stuff about Trump supporters, but the one thing I can say nice about them is anytime I talk to them on the street, they don't attack you. They don't care if they're filmed. Antifa and BLM, they got a stick up their butt because you try to film them or talk to them, they're nasty right off the bat. So,
do you think Trump is controlled?
it doesn't seem like it. He seems like he's the complete opposite. He's unhinged. He needs to be more controlled. Look at his Twitter account. He says whatever he wants to say on Twitter.
Yeah, it does seem like that.
I like half of what he says, and the other half I'm like, wow, why did you say that?
I would like to think that he's completely rogue, but
Sure, he's controlled to some extent. He was just complaining that the military-industrial complex was controlling him. I'm sure he is. I'm sure he's getting money. I'm sure he still has business interests that he's looking out for. I'm sure he has ulterior motives in some aspects. I don't think that like some 80-year-old billionaire is like the next Jesus Christ of the earth, like that he's a savior. He's had a lot of rape allegations. He's been in pornos on Playboy TV.
Trump has?
Yeah, he's done intros and been on like a few videos for Playboy and pornos and stuff. But
Hasn't his wife been in a porno?
his current wife, I wouldn't call it a porno, but she's been nude and stuff for magazines.
Yeah. If Kanye becomes president, then our first lady will be literally a porn star.
Yeah,
It's kind of fitting for America.
I think Kanye's just running because Trump told him to steal a few of the black votes from the Democrats.
Yeah.
That's what it seems like to me. Kanye's got no chance of winning.
I would rather have Kanye West be our president than Joe Biden. That's a sad state of affairs when somebody believes
That's
that.
funny. Yeah, because Kanye West is less crazy than Joe Biden at this point.
Yeah, and he's also less controlled.
He's not touching little boys' leg hairs in the pool.
He's a reality TV star.
He's not like kissing little girls and stuff.
It is just a matter of time. If Biden wins, he can be controlled. He's already controlled.
Oh,
guys.
Biden is 100% controlled. That's obvious.
Yeah. He's like a puppet
Definitely.
that doesn't work right because the batteries are running out.
Just nobody knows who's controlling him.
Is anyone seriously considering voting for Kanye? That's what I want to know. What about you, Shrimp? Who are you voting for? Did I get you to change your mind about voting? Because before you said you were not going to vote, or you're thinking about not voting.
I don't think I'm gonna vote.
What do you guys think? Should Shrimp Zoo vote? And if so, for whom should he vote?
I just don't think there's very many good choices.
Kanye West, Joe Biden, Donald Trump, Joe Jorgensen, the Libertarian candidate, white woman.
So yeah, I'll vote for Joe Jorgensen. I guess I know nothing about him. I'd vote for like a libertarian or
maybe one of the
something.
Pauls, Rand Paul or Ron Paul.
Maybe Rand Paul to me sucks on COVID, but he's pretty good on a lot of other stuff. I don't know. Most politicians suck. There's not like very many people pretend like these politicians are so great. They're mostly in it to be billionaires and have power. I'm not really a fan of politicians. I don't like uphold them like people uphold like LeBron James, or they have like their favorite sports team. I don't really look at politics like that. If it was like the end of the world and I had to like choose an army to join, it was either Trump fans or like Antifa/BLM. I would have to join the Trump side because I already went to a BLM protest and they tried to like jump us and take my phone. They wouldn't accept us. They were nasty people. So if it came down to it, I would have to side with the MAGA supporters, I guess.
Oh, Shrimp, this is one of my longtime subscribers, Marie. Long time.
I wear the mask because I started as a COVID channel. It's just like a meme. It's a joke.
He also has an autoimmune disorder too, though, so it's kind of serious, but kind of not.
But I'm not wearing it right.
I mean, it's just us in the house and Luna, his dog. So I'm not sick, and neither is Shrimp. So it's not a huge problem.
Well, we could be asymptomatic. We don't know that for sure.
We could be.
We may be carriers of COVID.
We both got tested earlier this year, but it's pretty much null and void at this point. I got tested at the beginning of June, and Shrimp just his test got messed up. So
give a thumbs up and subscribe if you want me to take the mask off and burn it and never wear one again.
Why the mask? Yeah, my subscribers are not huge fans of the mask.
Yeah.
I put a video up. Shoot, this must have been in March or April, and I was wearing a mask during the video.
Oh, yeah.
And I mirrored it on my brand YouTube channel, and it got like 10 downvotes. But I mirrored it like weeks later, so it was like the timing was a little different. And, you know, the politicization of the mask as a whole is something we could talk about, too, the differences of the left and right.
When we're out and we see people... When we see people in the middle of nowhere with nobody around them wearing a mask, we make fun of them. I always do it. When I see somebody on the street or outside, I laugh at them. Santa Claus says autoimmune isn't a factor for paper mask. It's his costume. Pretty much.
Yeah.
All presidents are Zionists and bomb Afghanistan's. They are traitors. That is kind of true.
Do you guys think a forced vaccine will cause civil unrest?
Yes, for sure. I think it's like over a third of Americans are not going to take the vaccine. It's not a small number at all. Yeah, I'm pro-vaccine and I'm not taking that vaccine. They need to try it for years and have like 10, 20, 30 million people like try it for years and have no side effects. They need to do that before I'm going to take it. Unless it mutates where it's killing like 20, 30, 40% of people, it mutates to like MERS or something like that, I'm not taking the vaccine.
And again, MERS, Middle Eastern Respiratory Syndrome, 40% kill rate, although not as contagious.
Yeah, this isn't MERS, but there's a chance you may get Parkinson's.
Speak about the vax. All options include the chip. I would hope there would be some sort of civil unrest if forced vaccinations became a reality. What would you do, Shrimp, if they came up to your door and tried to put you in the van or you get poked? What would you try to do?
So, I mean, they've already done that shit to me. The police/pigs have already came to my house like 50 times because of my channel.
They stole his chickens.
Yeah. I mean, they're going to come to your house and it's either they're going to beat you up and force you to take the vaccine, or they beat you up and force you to take the vaccine. You don't have a choice. They come to your house, you're taking it. It's not going to matter.
Will they keep immunity? The CDC. I'm guessing she means immunity from legal prosecution or pressing charges against them for vaccinations that are not effective, or even worse, have an opposite and deleterious effect. I was watching a short documentary, I think 2 days ago, about a man who contracted AIDS as a part of some vaccine program he was on in 1983. They did not tell him for nearly a decade or so. Just ridiculous, wanton endangerment, to use a popular phrase. And we'll do a nice skip to my Lou over that subject here in a second. But he was very shocked, appalled, life changed forever because of that reckless abuse of power as it pertained to vaccines. I couldn't tell you the man's name, but I'll try to look it up and pin it in the show notes.
We should get into herd immunity real quick.
Yeah, let's do herd immunity. What do you think about herd immunity, Shrimp Zoo?
Well, like, there's a lot of people like Dr. Paul Cottrell and Rand Paul. They think that you can get herd immunity. I'm on the opposite side. I don't think there's herd immunity because, like, you can't get herd immunity for regular SARS. It only lasts for a certain amount of time. They're saying the antibodies only last for 2 or 3 months here for this, and then they're undetectable. For herd immunity, everybody would have to get it in a short amount of time. They say only 10% of America has gotten COVID so far. So I don't think it's realistic that everybody gets it this year, and then next year they can't. I think it's pretty much just like flu, where it goes around and there is no immunity to regular flu. I don't think there is for this either. They say that like 60% of a few cities in Brazil have got COVID. They're saying that up to half of Ecuador, or even up to 60%, may have gotten COVID. So we'll find out in probably like a year or so if that's even possible. But I think the virus is mutating too fast. And just like AIDS, there's no herd immunity for AIDS, the regular flu for the cold. I think herd immunity is like a fake science.
So I'm going to moderate a debate between Shrimp Zoo and Paul Cottrell where they talk about herd immunity. This idea just came to me just now. So we're going to get a debate going between Shrimp Zoo
like, even if it was,
and Paul Cottrell, Dr. Paul Cottrell.
Even if it was possible, everybody would have to get COVID like super fast. They say we've only got 10%. Maybe Dr. Paul Cottrell thinks that New York City has gotten like 50 or 60% infection rate. I'm not sure what he would be saying.
So Kai, one of my subs, and I think Kai is actually a Patreon too, so shout out to Kai for that. This world war is going on the internet right now. Free speech is on the line.
Yeah.
So before we go back to that, I just want to dovetail to Assange. Julian Assange, I've been covering the past few days. He's currently on trial at an extradition hearing at the Old Bailey in London, United Kingdom. Started earlier this month, is expected to go for 4 weeks. I think it's go for at least 5 weeks, maybe 6 weeks. Journalism is on trial. The truth hangs in the balance. The polls are fixed. The police are owned. Julian Assange is the greatest of all time. He is the Michael Jordan of our age.
The greatest what? Hacker or journalist?
Journalist.
Do you think he's the greatest journalist of all time?
He's certainly greatest right now.
Is he really a journalist?
I would say he is. I mean, that's the debate, too, that the prosecution is trying to use, is that he's a hacker who obtained these files illegally when, in fact, he did not coerce the source or ask the source to commit any crimes or help him to do so to procure the information. So he's got pretty much an airtight supports, but again, they are trying to prosecute Julian Assange on the 1917 Espionage Act that was enacted in World War I over a century ago. And they are trying to say that the Espionage Act of 1917 applies to a foreign national. Mr. Assange is a New Zealander, but the Bill of Rights does not, and therefore the First Amendment does not. get extended as a guarantee or a right to Mr. Assange, despite the fact that the Patriot Act, the Espionage Act of 1917 does so.
Do you know anything about Kim.com? Because he's in New Zealand.
Kim.com, megaupload.com,
I've always been
creator and founder.
I've been a big fan of this guy for some reason.
If you guys were on the internet, 10 years ago or more,
I'm
you
old.
definitely know the website Mega Upload. It was the best website to find pretty much any video, any movie
It was really good.
in the world. It was pretty awesome. It got shut down by the FBI for embezzlement, stealing, copyright, etc., etc. Isn't he hiding out in New Zealand right now?
Yeah, I think like Germany and some other countries are after him in America.
Yeah.
I don't really have the latest updates on him. I just thought I'd bring him up real quick.
Interesting guy. He's like 6'10", giant dude who like made Mega Upload and got really rich off it, pissed off a lot of governments. And as far as I know, last time I checked, it was a couple of years ago, I read about him. He was in New Zealand, hiding out because they don't extradite over there in New Zealand. So
He ran for like a political office in New Zealand too. Didn't go very well.
really, wow.
Not sure what's happening with him right now. He's in court to be extradited, I guess.
You don't have moderators, do you?
We do. We need Josh H. and Guacarol in here. Sharon.
Oh, Josh H was in here
We
earlier.
got Harley Green. Shout out. I think he wrecked his truck. Hopefully that's okay.
What do you feel about Dr. Redfield, Dr. Fauci, and Nurse Ratchet, aka Dr. Miss Burks,
That's a
all
good
who
question.
have patents on the glycoproteins in the SARS-CoV-2 virus that causes COVID-19 disease? Got a Fauci T-shirt coming out if it gets approved.
So I like Dr. Redfield. It's very strange why we haven't heard from the CDC director basically at all. You never hear him on TV. He never gives like special updates or briefings. He's never on Fox or CNN or anything. That's strange. So the CDC is better than WHO and most other organizations, but not much. Dr. Fauci, he pretty much can't tell the truth because he has handlers. He's not allowed to say it's airborne, or he's not allowed to like tell the truth about the virus. Birx, she's okay. I like her the best out of those three. But at the same time, I don't think any government officials are going to tell us the truth. If it's super deadly, they wouldn't tell us. If it spread easily, they wouldn't. They don't want to. Just like Donald Trump said, Donald Trump himself said it was 5% mortality rate, and he said it spread in the air, that it was much harder to control because it didn't spread through surfaces like the regular flu. That came out in a leaked call with Trump and a journalist. That was Trump's words. I don't think it's 5% death rate though.
Do you really think, hey Shrimp, this is from Omnibad, do you really think cases are going to spike enough for the government to cause another shutdown? It seems to be overblown.
Yeah, they will. Even if they don't spike enough, they're so probably going to do another lockdown because it's like politically correct at this point. Canada's preparing for another lockdown. Australia already did another lockdown. Parts of Germany are in lockdown. So yeah, England just said today they're about to do another lockdown. Parts of Spain are going on lockdown again. Yeah, we're going to go on lockdown again.
How do you explain Sweden?
I'm a fan of Sweden's method, basically. I don't think that there's herd immunity. Otherwise, Sweden probably would have herd immunity. Sweden went from having like the highest death rate in Europe to the lowest. I think Sweden is the model for the world. I know Sweden has like a way different model than New Zealand, but I think Sweden, New Zealand, they've been leaders in how to handle this, even though it's two different methods. Sweden, they're just going about their lives like normal, and they're taking like super extra care of like nursing homes and old people. So I think Sweden has the right model for this. Sweden or New Zealand are doing the best.
Every single one of these actors are doing Gates bidding. Shout out to Kay. Kay is one of my awesome subscribers and Patreons as well. Marie agrees with her. Dolly letting us know that the UK is getting locked down tomorrow.
Yeah, Boris Johnson has been talking about it. So yeah, lockdowns are coming again. Lockdown, social unrest, and social unrest gets bad enough, then you're going to have the National Guard come out. That's going to happen right after the elections, guaranteed. You're going to see National Guard and lockdowns right after elections. That's going to be contested. It's going to cause massive social unrest.
Will I be able to hang out with foreign women in foreign countries again one day? That's what I want to know.
Ooh. You want some foreigners?
Will I be able to go
Mm-mm.
to Italy and hang out with a German girl once again?
You will, but it's going to be a long time, and you're going to need to be rich to do that probably, because airline tickets are going to get really expensive because no one's going to be flying. They're going to have to raise those prices up.
Don't say that.
But like overseas and stuff.
So that means the German girls and
year
the
or two.
Turkish girls have to come here.
A year or two, maybe. You'll see the borders open back up. But
It's a long time, Shroom.
That's a guess. Once there's like a crappy vaccine that enough people have taken, I guess.
Have you heard any long-term effect studies, any longitudinal studies on COVID so far? D Ranch is asking. He heard 60% of ongoing problems. We did mention this a little bit earlier.
We are both looking into it. They're like Australia is leading the world on this right now. They have a huge study. We just played a video clip of a woman in Australia that got Parkinson's from COVID. That's what the doctors are saying. So Australia and there's other countries saying that it's causing Parkinson's and it's causing the brain cells to like expand and get inflammation, and it's leading to like neurological damage. So most likely it's almost a guarantee you're not going to die of COVID, but you're probably going to have some long-term side effects. That's also a guarantee.
Israel, another country we went over earlier this week that has seen a drastic increase in infections, going up from 1,000 about a month ago to 4,000 a day.
Yesterday was 7,000 cases
in one day. Wow! So it's almost
their hospitals are at max capacity now. So imagine what Gaza and West Bank's like. If Israel is already at max capacity, then Gaza and West Bank must be insane.
So Israel went from a 700% increase in cases in about 6 weeks.
Yeah. So this, like, everybody's saying it's not that serious. They're right. But just imagine even the regular flu. If everybody in the world was getting the regular flu nonstop, that alone is going to cause like an insane turbulence in the world. If everyone just all of a sudden got regular flu, that alone would cause enough like social unrest.
Do you think President Trump will use the military when he gets reelected?
Yeah, I think he's gonna invoke like that law where he sends the military out. Because if Trump gets elected, I don't know if he will or not, all BLM, Antifa, they're gonna go wild on the streets. They're gonna be unhinged. They're gonna destroy everything. National Guard is gonna come out. National Guard will probably come out if Biden wins as well, for the same reason. It's going to be really turbulent. We're not going to know who won for a really long time, and it will probably be contested. It's almost a guarantee. Trump is saying nonstop that he's going to contest it. Republicans keep saying it's a joke, but it's not funny. That's not a funny joke. Trump will contest it. Biden, I don't know if he'll contest it. It doesn't really matter because BLM will contest it no matter what. If it's a fair and even election, doesn't matter. BLM and Antifa will contest it, and they will cause chaos.
Do you guys think this will end when the vaccine is widely distributed, or will the government use this as an opportunity to take a bit more of our rights?
They're going to use the opportunity to take our rights. Because think about this. We have vaccine for pig flu, swine flu, bird flu, we have vaccines for everything. Like
smallpox, that was the big one of the 20th century.
We got a vaccine for the regular flu. This thing is going to just spread around the exact same manner as the regular flu, which we have a vaccine already. People get the vaccine for regular flu, but everybody still gets it every winter. It's going to be the same with COVID.
It's almost the perfect low-intensity warfare weapon, a bioweapon such as COVID-19. Because it's not a kill shot in a matter of weeks or days. It's
a kill shot to the economy.
It's a slow and aching thorn in one side that doesn't go away because of the nature of the virus. We've seen people get reinfected.
Just killing all of our weak and our old and stuff, causing us our healthcare system to collapse and our economy to collapse because we have to look after all these old people and take all the precautions for fat people, people with diabetes, idiots like me that have autoimmune.
I'm perfect in every way.
Yeah, that's great.
How many CV patients have pre-existing conditions? Most.
Yeah, most people are not just dying of straight COVID.
What is your educational background? I have a liberal arts degree from the University of Wisconsin.
He's educated.
Not really. I learned more just reading on my own, to be honest. So that's
I'm a high school dropout,
That's not true.
but I've been to college.
Something I would encourage people to do is not to become credentialistic. Credentialism. People can look that up. It's basically you only like define people's worth on what certificates and titles and degrees they have, what credentials they have, right? That's just not really the way the world works, especially nowadays. It's like completely nepotism anyways, but actual ability is what I respect more so than credentials. That is not to say that I don't respect people to a certain degree based on the fact that they do have nice credentials or better credentials than I do. So, which there are plenty of people out there like that. So, Dr. Paul Cottrell, for example, he's also a lot older than me, but.
Beth says, do you remember how they were covering up the truth in New York State? Yeah, because I was saying that COVID was serious. All the way back in January, my ex was working at a hospital, Millard Fillmore. It's an x-ray tech, and she had dozens and dozens of old people and people from like halfway houses and stuff, and people from Wuhan, China, and people from Canada and the University of Buffalo come in with viral pneumonia, like a new one that was really bad, causing like really bad scarring of their lungs. And she told me about it. We made videos on it, and New York State was lying, saying they weren't testing, but 100% guarantee in Buffalo, in Niagara Falls, Western New York, in Rochester, they had COVID here all the way back in the early weeks of January, and they were just sending people home to self-quarantine, and they were lying to the public about it. But my ex was testing people at that point, so they were lying. They said the risk was low, it'd never be here. Now all of a sudden it is here, and the risk is high. They've complete Fauci, MSNBC, CNN, Dan Tavlock, the idiot at WIVB News, they have all completely changed course, going from you don't need masks, it's never going to be here, to if you don't wear a mask, you're a scumbag and you need to be arrested, put in jail, and you need to protest. Like they've completely changed their stance. And you have all these moron idiot trolls out there saying, why have I changed? No, I started my channel criticizing the Democrats in charge in Erie County, saying they're lying about it. And I continue to criticize politicians who are lying about it. I've been saying the same thing. It's the media that has switched their tune. They went from no mask to mask.
Learn from George Webb, great, knowledgeable man. I agree. Marie Messina, I was just at a charrette at George Webb's place down on the Potomac River, the beautiful diplomatic back channel down in Maryland. And how many guys, anybody want to see Shrimpsu talk to George Webb?
Yeah, I'm working that out. I'm going to talk to George Webb.
I'm sure we can work that out if people want to see that.
That would be interesting.
And Kay says to Maria, call it what you want, and they can say it's not mandatory when they hold a gun to your head and restrict your every mood. If you don't take it, in some people's lives, it is mandatory. And they will, in my eyes, do everything they can to ensure that they do not need to get to that point. They don't need to
you're not
bring
gonna
out
be
a
able,
gun.
You're not going to be able to get into a government building on an airplane. You're not going to be able. It's going to be like China, where
Or like finances, talk about purchasing power,
there's going to be a chip in your ID card, or there's going to be an app on your phone with a green check or a red X that you're going to have to show everybody before you get into a store or whatever. That's more likely than the vaccine.
I did not see that. Lady got thrown out of her high school kids' football game for not wearing a mask. Chris John Wright from the United Kingdom checking in again. Boris Johnson will use British Army on the streets in Britain.
That's the next step for America.
Climate changes. Human fleas are like ants to planetary forces. Is this a metaphysical battle? Who knows, guys? Metaphysics going on. Metaphysics of viruses, of geopolitics.
I think it's just China was messing around with the wrong viruses. Who knows what they were doing? Were they messing around with AIDS and bat viruses? Did they discover a new coronavirus in some weird bat cave in South China? I think China was messing around with viruses, and something got out, and they pretty much used it to their advantage, let it spread across the world knowingly, so that would destroy the world's economy and prop them up. I don't think it was intentional, but I think they knew about it and they let it spread and kind of destroyed America's economy, Europe's.
Something I
Climate-
wanted to mention.
Somebody wants to talk about climate change.
Well, climate change generally. We'll talk about the Assad assassination. Basically, just a quick blip. That Trump basically confirmed that Assad assassination plans were in the works back in the day under the previous administration. Climate change in general. What do you think about climate change there, Shrimpsu?
Well, I'll say this. The only political group in the entire world who doesn't believe in climate change is Democrats in America. There's no other political group in the entire world that does not believe in climate change. That's it.
You mean Republicans?
Yeah, Republicans in America. That's the only political group in the entire world that does not believe in climate change. There's Christians and conservatives in every country in Europe that believe in it. Republican Americans are the only ones that don't. I'm not a scientist, so I can't really say what's going on. I think the climate is changing, and more than climate change, I just worry about pollution. I don't really worry about climate change. I worry about pollution, I guess. I think the climate's changing. The poles seem to be melting. Greenland's melting. I mean, you can see that on video. You can literally see glaciers melting. Seems like we're running out of polar bears pretty fast too. I think the fires in California, I think half climate change, half people just causing chaos.
Yeah, I guess Facebook was taking down posts and profiles of people who were saying that the fires were started by people, even though there have been confirmations and evidence of fireworks being used by people to start fires. One thing I saw too was a map showing the outlines of the fires, which magically stopped at the Canadian border and were basically contained by the United States border, and only were happening in the United States of America, which doesn't really make sense. It's like fires know where borders end. I don't think so.
Joe Rogan got criticized because he said that they were being started by protesters, but then he took his video down. The next day, it turned out they arrested 8 people for starting the fire. So I think it's half and half. How the fires are starting.
Why do you think they're trying to censor people who are telling the truth about that?
Well, the mainstream media in America is mostly liberal media. If you say anything that goes against liberal Democrat policy, even if you're liberal and Democrat, they don't want to hear that. They're closed-minded. They're not tolerant. Anybody talks about conspiracy theories or anything that goes against the official motto of the American leftist media is banned. Look at Alex Jones. I'm not even an Alex Jones supporter. I think he's pretty crazy. But I like to watch his channel. It's super entertaining. I think it's funny. He might be right about 1% of the stuff, but even though I'm not Alex Jones supporter at all, I'm trying to watch his YouTube channel. I think it's funny. I want him to be up. I don't want people to be silenced. That's stupid.
Your 100 seconds to no return on the doomsday clock. Just a matter of time now for humans. Industrial civilization will go first.
I think civilization will continue, but Western civilization, that's out the door almost. That's the end of the West.
Well, in the West, the men are the women are the men, and
I think China will survive this just fine. They practically cured COVID in China. They don't even have it there anymore, basically.
no, in the West, you got white people thinking they're black people thinking they're white, women think they're men think
Rachel
they're women.
Dolezal and Sean King.
Wait, what about Sean King?
I'm always just fascinated by Sean King.
Why is that?
There's a lot of controversy on Sean King right now because he used a lot of his donations for just like personal use, and there's a lot of people saying he keeps scamming people with donations. He's supposed to put it towards like orgs or something like that, and he just uses it. He's supposed to come out with like books and stuff, but he never does. So he's kind of abusing his donations. I don't know. He's a white guy that he says he's black, and nobody really knows if he's white or black. It appears he's white though. I don't know. That's all I have to say about Shaun King. Not a supporter, not a hater. His story is interesting, I guess.
We're
Weird.
one race, the human race, says Beth O'Neill.
Pretty much, but I can't. When I go out, Antifa is labeling me as white, even though I'm mixed race. Antifa itself is racist. That's the
The
funny
white
thing.
gentleman in the blue mask.
David Icke. I don't agree with almost everything David Icke says, but I do like him. He's pretty interesting. I like to hear what he says. I use him in a lot of my videos.
Yeah, like
He's been deplatformed, banned from speaking, because he says there's like aliens, and he's worried about cell phone technology being bad. It's really stupid that he was banned about talking about aliens and cell phones. That's where we're at, though.
Yeah, David Icke. I just want to speak on David Icke. I think he's a great guy. He's becoming legendary status in the alternative media. He's reaching legendary status.
I think so.
With his books, his platform, his brand, his censorship, his banning that has happened. Extremely influential.
It's ridiculous.
And there's a contingent of UK journalists that are really, I think, leading the charge in many ways.
He's not even like an Assange character to do that to him. He's not like leaking secret cables. He's talking about like aliens meeting the prime minister and stuff. Like,
yeah, but that's not all he talks about. He talks
he-
about
I'd say his main thing is
9/11, Israel.
I'd
He
say
talks
his-
about the deep state,
his most-
CIA,
yeah.
FBI.
deep state and 5G are his main things, and to me, it's pretty harmless. When I watch someone like David Icke or Alex Jones, I view it as like watching Ancient Aliens or something on History Channel. To me, it's entertaining. That's how I view it, and they're messing up Shrimp Zoo's entertainment. So, it's gonna be a super boring world if you only want to listen to people you agree with. Because I like to listen to other people that I don't agree with to see what they have to say. I can listen to myself all day long. It's not going to be very fun. I could just watch my own YouTube channel and hear myself and agree with myself. But you want to open your mind, you need to listen to other opinions, what other people have to say. Otherwise, you're never going to learn anything.
Should we talk about the flowers?
Flowers?
Yeah, the flowers.
That I gave the girl?
Yeah.
On this channel?
Well, you just said it.
What do
So
you mean?
I told Shrimp he asked me, I didn't actually bring forth my advice unsolicited because I don't do that, but he asked me what I thought. I thought he was buying them too early.
You did. Why'd you want to bring this up? Did it embarrass me?
But he was right. He was right and I was wrong. So he bought the flowers and it worked out. So
I guess.
Just speaking about agreeing and disagreeing on things, Shrimp and I disagreed on that, but that's okay.
Well, it wasn't a very strong disagreement.
No, it wasn't.
You should have let me know that you disagreed harder than that. Yeah, I bought this girl flowers. That's what he's talking about.
It went well, I guess. So that's good for Shrimp. But we need to create a society
based on disagreeing on purchase of flowers or not.
Society where we can talk about flowers openly.
You used to be able to talk about stuff in politics and people could be friends with Republicans or Democrats. Not really like that anymore. It's pretty dumb. Everybody wants to fight if they have a disagreement over a political view. I'm telling you, dying for Joe Biden is going to be really stupid. If you're out there, Antifa, protesting, you're willing to die over Joe Biden, that's going to be really stupid. Dying over Mitt Romney, Joe Biden, Donald Trump, Hillary Clinton, dying over a politician is foolish. They don't care about you. They want us to be divided, really, so they get our votes and have more power.
Yeah, try not to fall into the binary thinking. It's almost like we define ourselves based exclusively on who our enemies are ideologically and otherwise. So I think being aware of that is important to becoming, fully actualized and not closed-minded in a way that inhibits you and actually weakens you and makes you susceptible to manipulation.
like I changed my mind on BLM actually only in the last week because I was supporting BLM and everything, and I saw that there was riots and stuff. That I was like, okay, well, that's maybe just a few people, or it's like just a couple Antifa kids in the mix. But I was supporting BLM, but then I went to a protest myself, and I seen what happened. I seen they're all just like white kids from the suburbs going downtown, causing chaos and being idiots. And I changed my mind on BLM. I realized that when I went to the BLM protest, it wasn't black people; it was almost all white people. And they were just like little kids and teenagers dressed in black like ninjas, and they were being mean. So I changed my mind on that. You should be open to learning and changing your mind, I think, because I do from time to time.
Guten Abend, Herr Heinz. Wer es geht?
Yeah, if you haven't seen these protests and you really support them, you should go check it out yourself and talk to these people. See if they're really nice. I haven't met any Antifa that's willing to talk nicely on camera. My sister told me today that I don't have the right to film Antifa or Black Lives Matter because I wasn't black. But there was a white transgender or white gay man. I don't know if they're a man or a woman. Do you know what I'm
I
talking
think
about?
it was a transgender.
There is a white transgender or gay man or woman dressed as like maybe a woman. I don't know, but anyways, they were white up in there, and they were something. They were filming, but it's just the fact that they were so strange that they were allowed to be there. They viewed me as white and just in jeans and t-shirts, so I couldn't film.
Sheila McCarthy, BLM has satanic roots. Melissa Warren.
I don't think that
heard
because
that
there's
too.
maybe I don't believe
don't
that
know.
because you see all these like in Buffalo yesterday there was a black preacher leading the BLM protest, so that doesn't fit in. But yeah, a lot of Antifa is satanic. That is true.
Our German friend.
So if there's a protest tonight in Buffalo, we're gonna be out there. Antifa, F you. You want to fight us? Fight him first. We'll be out there. I'm peaceful.
Thanks
Don't-
for tuning in, guys.
Don't fight us, Antifa, but we are going to film you because you guys look ridiculous and your ninja costumes are really stupid.
The 3 women in charge are witches. Yeah, she actually did say this. We are trained Marxists. I saw the video.
Yeah.
But they do have a list that one of their goals for BLM.
You know where they need...
They want to dismantle the nuclear family.
You know where they need BLM and Antifa that I would 100% support? I would support Antifa and BLM in like Belarus. I would be all for that. Or in like Saudi Arabia.
Hell yeah, Genevieve.
Black girl said you were white and normal looking. That means yeah, exactly. If BLM sees you and they think you're a white male, they assume you're Republican. And to me, off the bat, that's racist. They automatically assume because I'm white. Like there's no pale skinned people in Asia or North Africa. The Berbers, the Egyptians, the Turks, none of those people have white skin that aren't European, which I happen to be. It gets annoying to me. I don't get the advantages of being a minority because I have pale skin because I'm Turkish and Jewish and Asian. It's super annoying. I'm dying to have this white privilege out here because I'm not getting it. It's BS.
Thanks to Beth O'Neill for the well wishes. Thank you all for tuning in. Warning, quarantine.
Quarantine what?
I'm just pointing at your cool sign.
Oh, this girl's coming back from South Carolina. Should I make her quarantine before I see her again?
Yeah, I think so.
You're serious?
Yeah, 21 days.
No, you being serious?
28 days.
Be serious on here.
28 days.
Stop messing around. Be serious on the camera. Should I? You didn't quarantine when you came here. You didn't get a COVID test.
But you knew I wasn't sick, though.
I don't know. You weren't asymptomatic. Should I make her get a test?
Should Shrimpsu make the girl get a test or quarantine? Wait, it's 14 days, right, in New York?
Yeah. I'm not sure what the quarantine laws are. If somebody goes out of state and then comes back. Not sure. She said she was gonna get a COVID test, but
Where do all the ninja clowns come from? The Antifa ninjas.
they come from the suburbs, from all white neighborhoods, and then they flock to downtown. Their moms and dads drop them off downtown to protest.
Thanks for tuning in, Alfred Trejo. What times we live in.
We can disagree to disagree in peace.
Our German friend.
Ooh, we got some Germans up in here.
No
Nice.
quarantine for Sheila.
Oh, really, Sheila?
Dein Mercedes, deine Frau. He talks about exactly what's going on. Okay, guys, thanks for tuning in. This pandemic podcast. Eddie Az, Anakin Skywalker, YouTube's chosen one.
And watch Shrimp Zoo later tonight and possibly Addie's channel or the podcast, because if anything pops off tonight, we're going to go to downtown Buffalo to see what's going on. We've been going like the last few days. Not much has been going on, but tonight might be different. There may be something popping off. We're going to be right in the middle. We're not scared of Antifa or BLM. He stands behind the news cameras, but I go up in the mix, so we're...
Yeah,
we'll see.
I'm a way better covert agent than
I love-
Shrimp Zoo is.
We had a video where he was like, where Antifa was like, "Don't talk to this white guy in the blue mask and the camo," and I didn't hear it. And she's like, "They're troublemakers trying to cause fuckery." Addie's sitting there filming it. He heard it, and then I didn't hear it. I'm like in the middle talking to Antifa and stuff, looking like an idiot. And they just told everyone not to talk to me.
Thanks for tuning in, guys.
Oh, we won't be careful though. It's gonna be dangerous.
Be scared of the gelato lady. Stay frosty.
Stay shrimpy.
Coming live from the Shrimp Castle in Buffalo, New York. Until next time.
Gang gang.